Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do this, then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success. And welcome to episode 50 of the Coaches Show. This will be the post-World Cup edition, if you haven't figured that one out. Our guest tonight is none other than Cassey Harris of Rookie Pro Team and 2024 World Cup champion Paintball Fit. All right, we're going to discuss the World Cup Pro Division coaching changes we're aware of and get the story on Paintball Fit's year, because it's a hell of a ride, ladies and gentlemen, and that was a heck of an event. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Maxed Sportswear. For all your custom paintball goods, get Maxed. New Coaches Show apparel is available now. And BKI, the best knowledge in paintball. www.bkipaintball.com. Use promo code CoachShow. If you're watching us on Facebook, please send stars to help support the content. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave comments. Hey, before we get too far into this, I do want to take a moment on behalf of Ryan, Kevin, Shane, and myself to thank Veteran Militia and all the participants of the Commanders Cup. We were honored to be a part of such a great event. Thank you to all involved, and thank you to all the veterans. What an incredible, incredible show. Great job and by the way, congratulations to the Air Force. Well done, gentlemen. All right, Ryan, what do you say we start tonight off by jumping into the 2025 Major League Paintball schedule? The MLPB did release the schedule during World Cup, and there's a couple of surprises in there.
Yeah, man. Kind of before I bring the schedule up, I just really want to say really quick, just to piggyback on the thank you to the Veteran Militia guys. I had more fun coaching that game than I have had in a very, very long time. The sideline coaching, the no mercy, paint caps, like there was all kinds of different elements that you had to
vomiting in the pit.
Yeah, a lot of guys throwing up. And it's interesting when you're dealing with military guys, you expect like this high level of physical fitness. However, these are vets, meaning they are no longer in the military. So yeah, man, a few of the guys need to maybe step up their cardio game a little.
That's right. But it wasn't incredible. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely so fun, right? And to go back to that kind of classic X-ball energy, right? Yeah. Where you had just people screaming from all over the place and the counter coaching. It did get a little weird from time to time, like guys getting a little disrespectful,
sure,
but you get it all, right? When you do when you do that kind of deal, you get it all. So just a tremendous amount of fun, and thank you to Chris Rangel, Veteran Militia. What an honor to be a part of that. And I was blessed to be able to coach the Marines, got to coach them on their birthday. They kept telling me thank you, but the honor and thanks was all from me. So
100%.
Yeah, thank you. Just to add to that. So yeah, let's talk about the schedule.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring it up here. I do want to start with, to make sure everybody understands, I've seen a lot of comments about, no West Coast, that kind of thing. Just so you know, Tom went to Vegas multiple times. So the park we were in Las Vegas, they don't want us there. One, it's not really big enough for what we want to do. And two, the citizens, they just really don't want us in that park. There's way too many of them that utilize the park on a day-to-day basis. They don't really want us there. But the city of Las Vegas does want Major League Paintball. They want us there.
Right.
So they took Tom to all these different places to try to get it figured out. And the reality is all the places that had grass, none of them want us. They don't want us on their grass, which we totally get, right? If you've ever been to a paintball event a couple of days after the event leaves, it is a bad situation. So He also took multiple trips to Phoenix, multiple trips to Southern California to try to find a place out on the West Coast, and just unfortunately could not get it done in time for the 2025 season. So we know that obviously we want West Coast events. I mean, Vegas was such a great event. They know they need to be out there, but just couldn't get it done for 2025. So back to Raymond James Stadium, which I'm super excited about. I loved that venue. It'll be interesting to kind of see where they put it. But so happy to be going back there. I don't know that I really want to go to Florida twice, but looks like that's what's going to happen. And of course, I know everybody's super excited to go back to Atlantic City because what a beautiful place, and the women with 3 teeth, and it's just such an exciting place to go. The big thing I will say about Atlantic City and going there in this time of year is we do have a tendency to have rain at the second event of the year, and that facility has the best infrastructure for rain. There's concrete. There's concrete parking for the most part. All of the thoroughfares are concrete. So if we're going to have rain, Atlantic City and that venue is the best place for us to be.
Yeah.
Also, by going there that time of year instead of the summer, will certainly be a lot cheaper. So when we went this year, those who went, it was really expensive. It was hard to find hotels that were, affordable. Even a lot of the Airbnbs were really expensive. So Atlantic City at this time of year will be much, much better. But yeah, I know nobody's excited about Atlantic City. I'm not either, but there it is. So Midwest Open. This is another one. I know the MSXL went to this same park. However, where the NXL venue will be in a completely different part of the park. Supposedly really nice, great grass. So fingers crossed, hopefully that goes well. And as far as why they moved it from Chicago, I never really got a direct answer on that. But supposedly a great venue. Cincinnati's also incredibly cheap to go to.
Right.
Lone Star. So we are going back to Texas. I kind of gave Tom a hard time about this because he told us when he was on the show, I will not go back to Texas in 2025. Well, here we are. Lone Star Open is on the schedule. However, in the 4th event slot, which should be better as far as rain, it will be warm, but we should be good on rain. So I'm obviously really happy they're going back to Lone Star because it's a drive for me.
Sure.
Also, the city of Garland is being really helpful. They're very excited about Major League Paintball. They really want us to be there. So it's good for the league, good for paintball to go back there. Also, Texas is a huge market.
Sure.
Giant market. A lot of paintball going on there. So it's a great market. World Cup. So I know there's no destination on here. I did talk to Tom. I did talk to Kevin Fillers about this. The guy who owns the property that we're on every year at World Cup across from the Gaylord, he just doesn't want to sign the contract a year out. So the plan is for World Cup to be in the exact same venue that it's always been, or at least has been for the last several years. They just can't post it and put it on the schedule until they have a signed contract. But the plan is for it to be exactly where it's been. So hopefully that clears up some of that confusion. But kudos to Major League Paintball. Got the schedule out really early. That way you guys also got your WCPPL schedule. I saw XTPL put their schedule out. I'm sure USXBL will be putting their schedule out if they have not already. MSXL. So all of the regional leagues can get their schedule done, get them out. That way you guys can start your planning for 2025 now. So.
Yep. I'm excited. I don't think I've been to Tampa Bay since, was it 2004 MPPL Super 7 or was it 2007? I can't remember.
It was 2004. It may have gone back in 2007. I don't remember, but for sure in 2004 because we played there when I was
incredible venue. Atlantic City, to your point, it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be cooler. So I get that positioning, but you're right. That is one of the more expensive. I didn't meet many three teeth people, but I'm looking forward to that this time. And then let's see. Then we've got, of course, we talked about the next event, Cincinnati. I'm excited about that. Wasn't the very first NXL? No, that was in Cleveland. Sorry, but yeah, Cincinnati. I'm excited about that venue. I heard good things about it. I haven't seen it personally. I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, Garland's beautiful. And I think that was a really neat, venue last year, except for, the weather event, but it's going to be neat. I think this is an exciting season. And yes, to everybody out there, the reason why you didn't see them World Cup listed at Gaylord Palms is because, as Ryan said, the guy just doesn't do a year out, but it's probably going to be right there at the Gaylord Palms. The other thing, though, I was talking to Tom Cole about this at the event. I was like, do you think we're about to outgrow the parking at this location? I mean, that event was looking good. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Keep up the great work, MLPB. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the final numbers were, if it grew again, but it was massive. It was massive. Yeah. It was really cool, very crowded. And it felt crowded other than on Sunday when the games were going on. It felt crowded the whole time, right? There were people kind of walking around the whole time. So, yeah, Christian, I'll answer that really quickly just so we can get it out of the way. Yes, I do have plans for next year. I'm going to coach in Europe. My plan of right now is not to coach in America. I've had a few offers that I've already turned down. Last year, I wanted to take the year off. That was my first, kind of intuition, and I should have probably done that. I had just come off a year where I was coaching in America and Europe. I was really tired. I needed a year off this year. So next year, my plan is I'd like to coach a USXBL team. I'd like to coach an EXL team locally. I'll still go to the events, but only for the show. I'll just kind of tell you guys, I've shared it some. I really want to mic up coaches where I can go to a team meeting and mic them up and then go to kind of their match. And so what I want to show is, here's what they talked about in their team meeting. Here's the process that they put in place in order to get to those goals. And then mic the coach up during the match and talk about or show kind of how he used the things from the meeting in the game format so that we can utilize those things for the show. So I really want to be able to provide that kind of content for you guys. Mike and I are really excited about diving a little deeper into some divisional things next year. Mm-hmm. So that's just kind of the step in the right direction. But I appreciate the question. But my plan is, as it relates to coaching in America, is to take the year off. I feel like I need a break. So I'm going to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I understand that, certainly. And of course, the league's going to miss you, but you're going to be having a ball over in Europe, I'm sure. So
you will all still be there, right? So I'll still be around. I'll still come to the events and do stuff for the show. And I think it'll be easier for the coaches to communicate with me if I'm not a competitor, right? If I'm there just to collect content for the show, and I think it'll be better for the show if I'm not a competitor. So. So Christian, thank you for asking, but yeah, my plan is to take a year off. So let's talk really quick. Let's just jump into the pro content stuff.
There are a lot of surprises at this event.
Yeah. So let's start with the good surprises. What are the good surprises?
Well, the good surprises, obviously the number one great big surprise is rookie team Paintball Fit. Right. And we're going to talk about them. We're going to get in there with Cassey, but I think there was another big surprise that I think we're all happy to see. And that was AC Diesel. I was really pleased to see AC Diesel and what they were able to do. Those are the two big surprises for me that I thought were really exciting and great for paintball. There was another surprise that I want to dig into, and that is none of the top four Russians, X Factor, Heat, Scout made it on into the top four. And that was fascinating in itself. Lots of conversations about how that should be run, how that should be done each year. We can dive into that a little bit. Lots and lots of stuff. Uprising, another great, surprise there. Looking good again. Okay. I'll shut up now. I don't want to steal all the stuff.
I was just going to say, you're hitting a lot of things here. I just want to try to play catch up. AC Diesel, the big brains. Mark Johnson steps away from playing, picks up the clipboard. I think that was a really good move. He and Kyle Spicko were able to put their heads together. That also helped to narrow the roster to 7 guys, right? For the most part, they played 6, did a really good job. They were still a little bit soft in certain places, but for the most part, played a really fantastic tournament. Had a great game plan. The guys executed it well. Mouse was an absolute monster. BJ Henningberg played great in the Snake. Yeah, Clint Johnson,
Johnson.
Released either late into the middle of the field or went snake way, depending on what happened over there. Also ended up on the Dorito side some. I thought Clint played fantastic.
Production
out
of two other people, Spica and Jesse Stevens, and you're
Spica
getting production out.
Yeah, Spica didn't play a ton. It was Silos, right?
It was
Silos.
I meant Silos.
Yeah, Silos played a ton, played really well. Didn't make any big moves, didn't have to. Played very controlled, stayed alive. I thought Silos played fantastic as well.
He really did. But the dynamic between Spica and Mark, because I got to see it.
Totally.
And the dynamic,
really well.
They were clicking. And I remember after they beat us into the dirt, I remember going, even after day 2, before we even played them, they were our third match. I remember walking up to them going, wow, you guys are firing on all cylinders. You guys are looking amazing. Keep it up. Because they really were. They were just, I'm really, really impressed with how they turned the ship around. Great job by you.
So we didn't, Scalp didn't play on the first day. So I was able to sit in the VIP and scout every game. And on day 1, I kind of went back and I told the guys, I was like, from purely the way I think the layout should be played, AC Diesel, Dynasty, Impact, and Paintball Fit are playing the field correctly, and they look dialed, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, those 4 teams, and I think I made a post about this on Sunday morning or maybe Saturday evening, but those 4 teams were 1 through 4, right? And it just shows like you come into the first event, especially at World Cup, where every single point matters. When you have a 5-team pool and only 2 teams go, every point makes a difference. And those 4 teams looked so good on day 1. It was really fun to watch. Then, you have one pool in here that's just really gnarly, right?
Right.
Really gnarly, where you don't have an international team.
Yeah.
San Diego Dynasty, Seattle Uprising, Baltimore Revo, the Tauntauns, right? And then Blast Camp, right? And so in our picks prior to the event, we all picked Tauntauns except for one person who did it only to try to be different and try to win the pool. Because we expect the Tauntauns to be the Tauntauns, right? And so I think on the other side of the surprise is Tauntauns really kind of
playing defensively. Yeah, totally, playing defensively, and that's not Tauntaun paintball. And I was like, what are they doing?
And really, Tauntauns are so good. They're a little bit like the Russians, where in space between bunkers, they're really good with their guns. And I felt like they really took that element out of their game by trying to play in that defensive posture.
Right.
A couple of points when they were playing Revo, they really got up. Started playing on their feet more, were really active in space with their guns and put together a few points that looked really what I think we expected the Tauntauns to look like. So kind of interesting to see, Tauntauns are used to winning every event in Europe, and this year struggling a little bit with Team Scalp and not having maybe the season they expected to in Europe. Maybe we're starting to see yet another kind of iteration of the Tauntauns ahead. We'll see. So that was kind of a bummer. I don't want to say a bummer, just certainly not what we expected.
Right. Surprising.
And then I was going to say on the other side of that, in the same pool is Seattle Uprising, right? Yeah. Who continues this storybook finish to the year, going 3-1, beating the Tauntauns, only losing to Dynasty by 1, beating Baltimore Revo and beating Blast Camp. Just finishes the year incredibly strong, goes in, to the Sunday play. Didn't necessarily play great on Sunday, had a kind of a end of the game or end of the match sort of, I don't know if it was a miscommunication or what it was, but just kind of hit a bump right at the end, right? But nonetheless, thank you, Seattle Uprising. We're going to show a couple of your games throughout the offseason. And congratulations to you guys. Added the addition of Nate, Mark Miterman, really good. Yep. Mark has a little growing up. We saw him make a few kind of boneheaded things. I'll let Cassey talk about that, but he made a couple of little mistakes, but it's still, had a fantastic end to the year. I think some other kind of surprises, at least for me, is I kind of expected I expected Aftermath to do a little bit better. I thought they had opportunities. It really came out and it didn't play well against Paintball Fit. Really didn't play well against Damage. Then of course Spider Fusion in that division, who scored 1 point the entire event. They go 6-0 them, and then beat Austin Notorious, but 4-2, right?
Right.
And that was a surprise early in the event. Austin Notorious is 2-0.
Was 2-0, and they beat Damage, right?
2-0, beats Damage, and beat Damage handily 4-1. Austin Notorious gets a warm-up game with Spider Fusion, goes and plays Damage and beats him 4-1. Really, congrats to them. Maybe one of the best events they had all year. I know their placing wasn't the best, but they looked really good on day one. And then so to finish it off kind of with where you sort of ended with the top four thing, kind of interesting. I was talking to Jason Trozen about it kind of at the end of the really right before we even played. I just was like, man, it's kind of interesting how this is working so far, right? Houston Heat is out, X Factor's out. It's kind of interesting. And he kind of mentioned, he was like, well, it's always like you want to be in the top 8, and that's kind of your reward. And I was like, yeah, but the downside of that is these other teams for 5 matches are going to war, right? They're like every one of those points that they're playing, every point matters. Whereas in the 3 teams, like I'll just tell you, Scout kind of showed up in vacation mode a little bit and wasn't really ready to compete at a high level. And there was a lot of like feeling out the tempo and those kind of things that Vince and I were trying to kind of work through. And it was a bit of a challenge, but it wasn't just us, right? So the Russians don't move on. X Factor doesn't move on. Houston Heat doesn't move on. So is the loss of the 33% that the other teams are playing, is that impactful enough that those 4 teams couldn't make up for it? You know what I mean? Right. And it's kind of it would be an interesting case study. If it happens again next year, we need to have more conversation around it. But last year, 2 of the teams made it and 2 of the teams didn't. Right. So like you don't see a flaw. So it's kind of interesting though. It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I did want to answer to Slam It Son. Anybody a member of BKI, is it worth for a new tournament player trying to get better? 100%. Absolutely. You want to talk about changing the learning curve? That's where you do it. Okay. If you can't get out to the field or you can't get some trigger time, BKI, that's the way to go there. Doggy. Yes. It's good to hear from you, sir. Good to meet you. Good to say, and you're certainly welcome to Hurricanes. We're happy to meet you. And to Mark and Travis. Yes. The Hurricanes, there are changes coming. All right. Not like the rumor mill, but there are some changes coming, and some good, some maybe not so good. We don't know yet, but a lot's happening, a lot's going on there. And it wasn't for lack of trying that we didn't try to beat Shock. Shock had a little help there, but we won't go into that. If you guys want to understand what happened at that event, not probably going to talk about it a lot tonight. However, you can go read my blog at zenandtheartofpaintball.com, or you can go to my Facebook page, Zen and the Art of Paintball, and click the link and read the blog there where I do my event recap. All right. Enough about the Hurricanes. Next. So
yeah. So, and Rich mentions it here. Yeah. So kind of also, I think everybody understands the story there. NYX is relegated. Yes. Leverage moves into the pro division. So congratulations to Leverage. Certainly earned the opportunity to play with the pros. I'm excited to kind of see how they do for sure. On the other side of that, I'm so sad for Bo and honestly for paintball itself. Bo was one of the good owners that we had.
Yes.
That we have. Hopefully he decides to make some other kind of run at it. Bo is and the NYX organization were amazing. So really sad to see that happen. But, unfortunately, a team plagued with injury in the way that they have been all year when the league is as good as it is right now, you can't win with twos. You can't win with your second lineup. I mean, that's just the reality of how good the league is right now. So, yeah, NYX, unfortunately, is going to be relegated since there are really no true dominant semi-pro team like in 2013. Yeah, so, Rich, I kind of disagree with that a little bit. I do think Bear Ridge coming up is going to be really good from D2. I also think that New York Wrecking Crew is really good. I think the Sea Dogs are really
Royal
good.
City, you beat me to it.
Yeah. Depending on what happens with Missouri All-Stars in the offseason, if they can retain some of the guys that played with them at World Cup, I think they're going to be really good. I do think there's some talented teams that are still going to be in semi-pro. However, again, it's hard to say whether or not it's watered down. We're going to see if Leverage comes in next year.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, if Leverage comes in next year and they can compete, they do something because they also play a lot of paintball. I don't want to say they do what Paintball Fit does, but they do play a lot of paintball. So it'll be interesting to see if Leverage can come in and play well. Maybe the semi-pro division is not as watered down as we think, right? But I do agree with you. Having the years where basically from the Hurricanes to the Fit Blast Camp move up, those years, I mean, to get out of the semi-pro bracket, you had to do a lot of work. I mean, it was really difficult. Yeah, and more than likely have to win an event or two. I know the Hurricanes, the year they won it, didn't win an event. And then on the flip side of that, Paintball Fit wins every event in a row, right? So I do think that the semi-pro bracket that we see right now seems a little watered down, but it's hard to tell until Leverage comes in.
No, I agree.
So if Leverage
I do want
comes
to
in
send until Leverage comes in and starts playing. You know, we're not going to know. But listen, you got some great talent on Leverage. They've got a couple of pros who have been there already. So I'm sure they're having very serious talks about the expectations, and hopefully they're setting those goals. But I do want to send a shout out personally to my boys, Bear Ridge. Great job. I'm really impressed. Not only they went second, third, and then they won World Cup. That's where you do it, boys. That's how you do it. Way to stay resilient, way to stay after it. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on bumping up to semi-pro. I think you're right. I think with teams like Wrecking Crew, with teams like Royal City Sea Dogs, who has an incredible roster and talent. By the way, they won the event at World Cup. Congratulations. Yep. So, and then you add the Bear Ridge boys. I agree. You got newbies. You got, don't forget Wolfpack, GG Factory. There's teams that have the talent that can do well. So I think
GG Factory's gone.
Oh, they are. Okay. They're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
But long story short, I'm looking forward to it, to seeing what happens, especially now that I have very good friends in that division. I had very good friends in that division last year, but I'm really going to be paying much more close attention this year. So,
yeah. And some people brought up Preferred Mob. The reason I didn't really talk much about them, 11th, 14th, and then third, skip an event and a second. They kind of got it together at the end of the year. So there's still a big question mark around P-Mob. We'll see, right? We'll see. But I don't know. I think the semi-pro bracket gets better next year. I think Bear Ridge, couple of one or two other teams from Division II are coming up. TPP Crew, and again, Wolfpack, if they come back into the semi-pro division, it's going to get better, right? It's going to get better. And hopefully that creates a lot more adversity at the top, right? Because I think that's what seasons those semi-pro teams to be able to come in and play well. So yeah, Ology definitely not. They 14th, 4th, 1st, and 15th. They're going to need to get, and then skip World Cup. So yeah, they're going to need to get significantly more consistent and show up to the biggest tournament of the world. So yeah, Ology's kind of a big. I was hot on them coming into the year. Unfortunately, kind of let me down. So yeah, we'll see. Clutch City Oilers, another team in semi-pro that kind of went up and down all year. They're from Houston. I think they're coached well. It's a bunch of good guys, but we'll kind of see what happens to them. So yeah, you ready to bring in the man?
Now let's bring him in. People are waiting on it. We got a lot of people waiting to talk to the man himself. I'm excited to talk to the man himself. I have lots of questions. So,
Cassey, welcome.
Hello.
Good evening.
How
You know,
doing?
it's interesting, Casey. I did want to share this real quick. Paintball Fit has something in common with the Hurricanes. Your first event, your first rookie event in the pro division, you 6-0 mercy rule the ML Kings.
Mhm.
The Hurricanes at our very first pro event, first match, we 6-0'd Seattle Uprising. So
Nice.
the new teams coming in, they're showing out usually that first match. So everybody be ready.
For sure.
You get
I
all
wanted to get
excited.
that out there, my guy.
Get all excited. Yeah, so let's
Here we
talk, Casey. Kind of give us a brief history, really quick. Don't make this part really long because we really want to dig into the 2024 stuff. Give a brief history of your time with Paintball Fit.
So I've been with Paintball Fit. This is my 6th season. Did D3, D2. We did AC Dallas year, and then 2 semi-pro, and then this pro year. So
Okay.
Okay.
So you've been with him for a minute.
yes.
So it's been said.
I used to play against the Luke Cows back in the day.
Oh, I remember. You guys played my series.
Yeah, I know. Yes, yep. So that's kind of how. And then I got married, had kids, kind of stepped back from paintball, and and they're like, "Hey, JD, stop being." That's kind of how the history wrote itself. So
Yeah. So it's been said that Paintball Fit plays more paintball than any other team. So what does that regiment look like? How often are these guys playing?
they play 4 times a week for sure. I mean,
4 times a week.
4 times a week. I mean, they have night ball Wednesday, night ball on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. I mean, it's pretty, 4 times a week at least. So
There it is. There it is.
But as a team, definitely Saturday, Sunday. Because I mean, sometimes on the night balls, they playing with other people. But I mean, they're playing 4 times a week for sure. So.
Mhm. Well, it's working. I mean, let's have a quick recap of the 2024 season for Paintball Fit. You guys go to Vegas, like I said, you open up your season opener with a mercy rule. You lose the next 3 by 1 point. Revo, Uprising, and Heat. You come to the Lone Star. You go 2-2, but you beat Dynasty in that.
Yeah.
You lost to X Factor by 1. And then for some reason you get shut out by the Ironman by 4. Mid-Atlantic, you show up at Mid-Atlantic, you go 2-2 again, but then something flips, the switch flips, and you guys show up at Chicago. You make the top 10, your first Sunday appearance, beating Dynasty again, making it to Sunday through the wild card. Great job, by the way. And then you show up at Cup and just show everybody how to play paintball on that layout. This is how you lane off the break. This is how you get to specific positions. This is how you communicate, and this is how you close. And it was a clinic.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm just going to sit back and love it. Here I am sitting back.
No, it was great. I mean, our off the break shooting that's what someone said something about GI paint. And I was like, man, look, it was brittle, but I mean, it shot. I mean, we had 85% probably kills off break. I mean, there was at least 1, if not 2 bodies dying off break. And I mean, that's one thing we struggled with a little bit actually at the beginning of the year. That's what we're known for, is killing people off break. But we were struggling some of the beginning of the year, and it definitely clocked in at World Cup. So
yeah, known for shooting people on the break and struggling with it throughout the year. Yeah. Sounds familiar. I'll shut up. Anyway.
Well, certainly had it dialed in at World Cup. I mean, that's one of the biggest things I saw was you guys looked more like the Paintball Fit that we've become used to than I thought you had all year. And again, I thought we'd see more of this in Chicago too, because it was such a similar layout with a lot of Colt, Trent, Cyrus, all those guys. And I think it's because they're really, really tall. They shoot over boxes into blind spots so well.
Yes.
So well. And so I thought we'd see a little bit more of that. And maybe that's why you guys obviously did a little better in Chicago, is because of the off the break shooting. But at World Cup, especially on day one, like I said, when I was watching, I was like, okay, that's Paintball Fit, right? We're going to shoot you guys off the break. We're going to make you really uncomfortable really fast. We're not going to make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to shoot you out of spots. One of the big thing that separates you guys from most new freshman professional teams, even sophomore professional teams, is you guys don't do the chaotic running, trying to bunker guys. It's really the squeeze, right? The things that the Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Damage and Dynasty do really well is the squeeze. And you guys do that very, very well. And I saw that multiple times this weekend. Now, of course, when you guys went through the middle of the field, there was some blood in the water a few times where I saw Cyrus, kind of in the full sprint with one guy left on the field, really excited to bunker somebody, which I think that's important too. If that's the kind of player you are, right, and you need that,
you got to let the dog eat,
right? Yeah, right. Let him get after it. So, but it was really fun to see Paintball Fit play like Paintball Fit plays. And I think the other thing, probably the biggest thing that occurred, is I remember having conversations in the off season last year, even at Paris, with some of the professional players talking about whether or not Paintball Fit could be competitive. And the conversation was interesting. There were a lot of the professional players who were like, yeah, there'll be a 14 down team. And I think I said at the beginning of the year, I think Paintball Fit's going to finish 8 to 12. I don't remember exactly where you finished, but
7 or 6.
Yeah. 6, right? So you
double points.
Yeah.
double points for the win, right? So you guys have really done, I don't want to say significantly, but you've done better than anyone thought you could do. And what's exciting about that for your group is I don't think they're surprised at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, we put high expectations on ourselves, right? I mean,
sure.
We're already growing to the drawing board for next season. I'm like, all right, cool. We won, cool. All right, next year we got to be even better.
For sure. And loyalty has been such a big part of the Paintball Fit story too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys don't leave, right? They don't leave.
No.
I know
they buy into the. I don't know if anybody watched Cyrus's podcast or Chavi and Colt had a podcast to play with Spick and Span, and then Play the Game podcast. It's he's like Cyrus said, he's like, man, I moved to Florida. Colt, talked to Colt in December, moved to Florida to buy in. Like that was one of the
from Florida.
Yeah, that was one of the stipulations. You got to live in Texas and be willing to play 4 days a week. So
that's incredible. So let's delve into that a little bit. Let's talk about that culture with Cyrus and Mason and Colt and Chavez and all. Let's talk about that culture. I mean, I think to Ryan's point, we talk about loyalty. There's loyalty, but then there's this culture there that just seems like
literally the second part of my question is, what is it about the culture that makes them want to stay?
Yes, let's go with that.
The winning mentality. Each one of them have the drive to win. That's all we believe in. Is like not obviously everybody believes in the winning, but it's buying into the program of like, hey, we're gonna put in the work. Like we got to catch up to Dynasty and all these people that the more hours you put on and it's just. The culture's winning. The family aspect, right? Fit. Everybody's like, Fit. Tries to make a joke about it, but it really means family integrated team. Ryan, you've been to Fit. They really JD, Sarah, Johnny, and all them really bring that aspect to that. To North Texas paintball, to Texas paintball in general. But even whenever you go to these events and you talk to JD and stuff, he invites you in just like. You've known him forever, and he doesn't, know some people. When it's the culture of just winning, the family aspect of I the next day I text all my pit crew and I'm like, look, all this is not possible without you guys. Like, I know there's sometimes the heat of the moment, you're yelling at this. I mean, and it's a lot, but I'm just like, I just want each one of y'all to know how much I appreciate y'all, because this is, I mean, the goal is, and there's so many moving parts, right? Y'all know that.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it starts from who's running the pods. I mean, just all the way down to, but
It's outstanding.
I'm so glad you brought up the family. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up the family and didn't just stop at the winning attitude and that kind of thing, because there's something special. Not only is Paintball Fit, the facility, world class, fantastic turf, great netting, great bunkers, great viewing areas, covered staging areas. It's world-class facility, but then you have maybe two of the nicest people ever in paintball, JD and Sarah, and I've known them for almost 30 years now, and they've always been that way. Always. Just an amazing support system. And of course, anybody who was at World Cup and was around the stands, you knew every time Paintball Fit shot someone. You knew every time Paintball Fit won a point. I mean, it was
at one point I had to, like, at under 10, I had to start like telling everybody, like, hey, I need y'all to calm down so I can
calm
yell
down.
like what I see at that box.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was amazing. Like, I mean, just more than the sport in general, but I mean, just like the environment was unreal. So.
Totally. Well, and not only did Paintball Fit win the tournament and pro, the women take second place. You guys had a new Young
Hydra
Guns
kids,
team, right?
The youth,
Hydra kids. They won the tournament, right? Also had a new women's amateur team, right? Some girls.
Yep.
I mean, you guys had teams across every division, right?
Yes.
Every division is represented in some way by a Paintball Fit team. And it's not just about, and again, that's why I'm so glad you didn't stop just the winning thing, because it's not just about the culture of winning. It's also about the culture of the work. They're just so focused on the work. I mean, I don't think I ever go to Paintball Fit that somebody isn't out there shooting.
Well, I mean, and I'll give you, I mean, but going like to work, I'll give you a prime example. So Wednesday, Paintball Fit put new lights up. So we were actually behind schedule of like what our normal routine of like learning the layout, kind of like breaking down what zones and shots. And anyways, like the guys were still, whenever I got there, they're still putting these brand new LED and black lights up so they could have Wednesday night ball for everybody. And Saturday I couldn't be there because I own a restaurant. I had to cater a wedding. And one of the guys from Beefy Boys stepped up and like did the buzzard and all that stuff and took notes for me, But I mean, like I said, it goes back to the family of like, hey, helping whenever someone else is down or needs help. So
it sounds like it's a mentality that permeates throughout the entire facility, and it just happens to land there at this paintball facility in Texas. That's absolutely fantastic to hear about. I never knew that about Fit, family integrated team. That's outstanding.
Yeah,
that is really cool. I'm not sure who else knew that. If you knew that, post up, because I didn't, and I love it. And I'm with Ryan. It's not about, it's that, okay, hey, we're about winning, but we're about winning the right way. We're about winning by putting in the work. We're about winning by building on top of all these little successes, right? And these little successes lead to greater successes. And if we create this environment where people can thrive and work hard for something that not only they believe in, but believes in them, right? There's this symbiotic, relationship. It sounds like you've built an environment, not just a culture, but a complete paintball environment designed simply to improve the player, improve the team, improve the community, and put winners on the podium.
Yep, that's what we try to do for sure. So
outstanding.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's working.
That's what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
so if that's what you're trying to do, your purpose is good, your process is good, the performance speaks for itself. right?
100%.
People, purpose, process, performance. So I think
4 Ps.
you're doing good. Is Jennifer your wife?
That is my wife.
Yeah,
she's been in here all day. I tried to put her up earlier because when you're talking about her, and I was like, and I missed. I hit the wrong one. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she is.
That is my wife,
She's been okay. That makes sense. She's like, I love you.
She's in the living room in there.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I knew it.
Well,
she had
again,
to be in the room.
and that's the kind of support system that it takes, right? It's
I mean,
not just about what happens at the events and what happens at like the loved ones at home have to support what we're doing. They have to be a part of, right? They can't be separated. So glad you're here, Jennifer, and thank you for giving her your sweet husband to us for a couple of hours. So
love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's go ahead, Ryan. I assume you're going to talk about. Okay, I was just one of the things I kind of talked about your season, right? But I want you to talk about that season. I talked about the scores and what you did at each event, but walk me through the season. Paintball Fit. What's Paintball Fit thinking and doing after each event? What's that system like? We're sitting there going, okay, we didn't do so as well as we thought in our debut. This, that, and the other. Okay, Vegas. What happens after Vegas? What switches? And then what happened after Lone Star and what switches? So walk me through that. Walk all of us through that.
Well, I mean, Vegas, we go 1-3. 2 of our prelims actually went into overtime. Revo and Heat were both overtime. We were on the backside of that. Uprising, we were up, had penalty, ended up going the wrong way. We were 2 points from going to Sunday that event. Lone Star, same thing. We were 1 point away from going to Sunday. I mean, it's really just going back to practices and stuff. It's just, I mean, like y'all both said, this year in general, I mean, obviously it's our really first pro year, but like there's no room for mistakes at all.
Yeah.
And like, and really and truly, and that is like, I mean, Lone Star, honestly, I think when we beat Dynasty, we got the emotion of like, hell, we just won the tournament. And then we kind of come out flat, the next day. And that was, it actually goes on to something at World Cup. Like when we won these matches, like, or even lost, it was like, I was like, one of the things I was saying is like, we have to stay neutral. Like we have to stay neutral. We can't, I mean, that was one thing going, Johnny and everybody we were saying was like, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. Like we have to be that balanced ground because like going on, it was just, like I said, there's no room for mistakes. And whenever you have something go wrong, we only have a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops to go over the next game plan, real quick. So,
right.
But I mean, and then, AC, same thing. We go 2-2. Chicago, we finally make Sunday. And then we got Russian, we're only one of 3 teams that beat Russians this year. So, but we learned from that. I mean, that was one thing that we said, like, actually, I'm sure we're about to talk about World Cup, but when we went into, we knew that we were going to be in their bracket. Like, not that I wasn't worried about damage because we obviously lost the day before. But one of the things we was like, I was really focusing on Russians or Red Legion and like how to beat them and stuff like that. So.
Right. So we're going through the season. Vegas, Lone Star, Mid-Atlantic. Is the process changing any? Are we adapting to a process, or are we continuing down the same path saying, hey, we just got to execute better? Are we watching tape? We working different things? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I give all the guys like homework of like watching the tape and like going over the mental things that we kind of like tell them like, hey, we need to watch our tape, critique ourselves. The past is the past, but we got to learn from the past. Can't keep doing the same things. communication's always my number one thing that's all of our things, but it drives me even crazier because my guys do play together 4 days a week. So I'm just like, you guys should literally be able to,
Yeah,
I mean, I run a
right.
restaurant. So like, I mean, but in anything in life, right, is communication.
Right.
So like me at a restaurant, I always joked, I was just like, y'all just need to come work in the restaurant for a month with me. Y'all be communicating great. Like y'all won't even know. But I mean, it's just one of them things of like, but I also know, I mean, it's a lot different whenever you got a mask on and you got guns shooting at you and you're shooting a gun. So it's there's a lot more variables.
Sure.
But it's just,
Sure.
but it's being, you know, Johnny said it best one day. He's like, each day, each point, each practice, you have to be intentional. Like we can't just like go through the motions. And that is one thing that like, because they do play so much paintball, it's very easy to go through the motions on, let's just say, a Wednesday night or a Friday night of like, no, like you should work on don't just go through the motions, like take every point serious, even whenever it really doesn't matter. So
yeah, intentional.
because I mean,
I love that. We've been talking about that a lot. So
if
what
you
a
practice
great,
being lazy, you're gonna make those.
You're gonna be lazy
whenever it matters. So
yeah. The coach Kevin Brettauer is calling me right now. Let me send him a message and tell him I will call him back. He's probably calling to gloat. Battery says that, you know, I need to shave, something like that. I'm sure. Here's another question. I understand. And this is an argument I have had with several teams. I wouldn't say it was an argument with my own team. It was certainly a discussion, but I've had arguments about this. You know, most pro teams feel it's important to bang against other pro teams, especially on a layout weekend. From what I understand, you guys practice divisional teams a lot.
We do.
And do you,
Lone Star.
So walk me through that. Say that again.
I said Lone Star, we practiced the Russians.
Okay.
Lone Star event, we did practice the Russians. Well, I mean, obviously there's so many teams that play at their field that play the national event. We have a pretty good system of helping them out, and they help us out. We can get through more points, and not to mention we get the true feedback against our own. Like if we're playing, let's just say Shut Up semi-pro team and Jackpot semi-pro team and Beefy Boys. Those are some of the ones we practice for World Cup. Well, they're gonna give us an honest opinion of like, oh, you shot us or this or that. If you're playing against a pro team, they're like, oh yeah, you shot me, but you didn't really shoot them, or you know, I don't know. That's
it's a really good point you bring up, because Mike and I, you know, one of the things and this is why I like practicing his guys, and any team I've ever taken there, I've expressed this vigilantly. When you give feedback, it is the exact space and where you got shot, how high it was, like where on your body you got shot, were you diving, were you standing up,
right.
Like you show how high it is, you go to the space you got, like that feedback. And you are 100% right. There's a lot of teams that you practice. There's a couple in Texas that you practice, and you're not going to get good feedback. They're not going to tell you anything, or what they're going to tell you is not good.
Right.
It's not good.
And I mean, they're like, oh yeah, you hit me, but you really didn't hit me, or, you know, so, I mean, it's the feedback, honestly. And not to mention, we can ask them, hey, run this, or we're going to be in this spot. We want you to try to shoot us, right? I mean, a lot of times one of us will go down there and like tell them exactly what we're doing, you know.
There it is.
And same thing, we ask them like, hey, what do y'all want to work on? So, I mean, like I said, it goes back to that family integrated team and the culture of like, you know what I mean? And, you know, that's why I feel like there's so much success that comes out of Paintball Fit field.
Yeah.
So.
No, and you're absolutely right. And I do want to harp on that just a little bit more, in the fact that the Hurricanes rookie year, we only practiced one pro team the entire year. We mostly practiced semi-pro, D3 and D4 teams. And you're absolutely right about that. You can walk up to those teams who want to see you succeed. And of course, they're getting feedback as well. They're learning, playing against a higher skilled team. And you can sit there and say, hey, we're going to go here. We're going to try and do this. This is exactly what we're going to do. Try and stop it. Or
Right.
you can reverse, say, hey, I need you guys to run here a couple of times. I need to see if my guys' guns are on. All these different things. And like we called it earlier, the symbiotic relationship, right? We're helping each other get better. And I think that's what you just described is perfect. And you throw in that intentional comment on top of that. Oof, what a combination for success. Good stuff.
Being intentional, we probably say that 5 times every show.
Yeah.
Whatever you do it with purpose.
Do it
Right?
purpose.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
have a
and you have
purpose.
to, right? I mean, like, that's one thing I'll tell them all the time. I'm like, time is money. Like, you know, I mean, it's one of those things of like, let's not waste time. Like, if we have, like, let's have a goal. Like, I try to. It's
The G word. It gets me excited.
It's a work in progress. But
yeah,
I mean,
but more importantly, for a group that is playing 4 times a week, right? If you think about how easy it would be to just slide into the motions, right?
Right. Well,
just to go through the motions and just grind out point after point after point. And you're doing the same muscle memory thing over and over and over again to the point where the productivity from that movement is gone, right?
Right.
Where it needs to be more about the movement, or sorry, less about the movement and more about the mental, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do this movement and we shoot this guy. Now what? Right.
Right.
And then what? And then what? And then what? Yeah, man,
Right.
that having intentional work, again, especially for a team that plays as much paintball as you guys do, it's critical.
For sure.
Critical.
100%.
And I know your guys,
Yeah.
and you're incredibly blessed, right? You have a shitload of people on that team who care. They want to get better.
A boatload of
Yes.
people.
No, it's a shitload. It's like a big plastic bag of shit, just filled with hunger, hatred, and eager attitude. So they just really want to win, right? And it's a special thing that happens. You know, it's all about that culture that we spoke about earlier. And you're incredibly blessed to have that group. You've done a great job with them. I've talked to Colt a couple times throughout the season because I was down there with AC at practices, and he's a big personality, right?
Oh, yeah,
He's a big personality. When he gets upset, sometimes he can take a practice the wrong direction. And I've told him a couple of times, like, hey man, sometimes like the groups, like an hour's worth of success rides on your attitude.
Yeah.
Like if you go off, we may lose an hour of productivity because now the guys are kind of, instead of focused on us and the work, they're focused on you. They're mad at you for blowing up. And
right. Yeah, no, and that's something, like I said, it's a work in progress. We've been working a lot on that. Like,
he's young.
Colt's young,
he's passionate.
But I mean, we've had that, me and him have that personal conversation. Like, look, you are the leader of this team, but leadership, like, you have to show that leadership. And then, like I said, he stepped up. He's passionate. That's, he's super passionate. And I just told him, I was like, but you have to step up and be that leader. And like I said, World Cup, he has. Last 2 events, he's really showed up to be that guy, and not coming back as much as just giving the positive feedback of like, hey, let's do this and stuff like that. So
yeah, man, because every mistake is a good opportunity.
Well, right? Like I said, I rely on each one of my guys. Which every coach does, right? We're not in the nets. We're on the outside, so we only see so much, and we only have a minute to make a second decision, Honestly, Johnny's done a huge role. Like, me and him's kind of, don't get me wrong, like, guys, you've seen him play, but like a lot of guys hadn't even seen him play. So he's a weapon.
Oh, he's a baller.
Most people's never even seen him play. So
he's a baller.
That's coming soon. So but right now he's kind of stepped back and help kind of with the player and the day to, just he's with them every day. I can't be there every weekend.
And he's a big brain.
Plus he runs the whole organization of Fit, all the teams and stuff like that. So, it's a huge workload. So,
Love it. Love it.
So
Awesome.
before we jump into this finals match, let's talk about your way in to get to this finals match. So you guys finish the World Cup preliminary rounds with a really tough loss against Tampa Bay Damage. I had already kind of seen it lining up in the schedule. I was like, they're going to play again, I think. Like,
yeah.
real high.
So I had already I was pretty sure regardless of whatever happened, especially with FSU. Now, when FSU lost theirs, they kind of sealed the deal. And I knew that we would probably play each other the next day.
So talk about that, because I think it's interesting that the audience know like how tight your pool was. So if Austin Notorious wins their third match, if they win their third match and you lose to Tampa Bay Damage, there was a split second that it could have been Austin Notorious, right?
Right.
However, it would have created a three-way tie. And Tampa Bay still is this. So I'd already kind of done the math and realized probably even if Notorious wins, it's still going to be Damage, because it's going to create this three-way tie. Damage has a higher point margin, even though, Austin Notorious beat them. They're probably still out, right? So I had kind of seen like there's a really good chance we're going to see this match again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but doesn't go head-to-head first before it goes to margin?
It goes head-to-head.
One comes out.
But it would have been Damage.
No, because you have a three-way tie.
Yeah, because we beat FSU, Damage beat us, FSU beat Damage.
There it is. Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Tie.
Yeah, three-way tie. So, okay, so yeah, it would have gone to margin.
And then head-to-head.
Right. And before we get too further, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, and I apologize, but I just feel like Fit, your side of the bracket on Sunday. Ryan and I was talking about this earlier, and I do feel like you guys had a much stiffer road to the finals, and the way you addressed it and handled it was outstanding.
Yeah.
So.
I mean that we even said that, like, we have to go through the hard road, and that's what makes it even much more sweeter. Of like, we've already played. I mean, once we beat Damage and once we beat Russians, I mean, we're like, all right, like, hey, this is ours, And I think that's, we kind of in our head was like, we can beat Diesel.
Anybody.
Right, But I mean, it was one of them things of like, we kind of, I think we got a little lazy the first point against Diesel, and then second point, and then obviously chaos started happening. But
don't skip ahead. Let's talk about let's talk about the Damage match first. Right. Yeah. So you come back in the next day, and paintball is interesting in a way that if you play a team in the preliminary rounds and then you play them again on Sunday, most of the time the team that won in the preliminary rounds loses on Sunday.
That's right.
It happens all the time, right? So really interesting. Like, again, I saw how that it kind of looked like this one's not going to go Paintball Fit's way.
Right.
But they're going to play him again first match tomorrow morning. Like, this could get really fun, right? But then again, as you look at the brackets, it's like, okay, but they have Damage, and then they have the Russians, and then whoever wins between the AC Scalp game. I felt pretty confident AC was going to beat Infamous just based on the way they were playing the field.
Same.
And then I also like the Impact Dynasty area. Like, both of those teams were also playing incredibly well. Yeah. Right. But I also felt like if you guys could make it past the Russians, you probably win the tournament. I see Colt's in here, and I walked by him and was like, I think you guys are going to beat the Russians, and like at that point, I'm really thinking Paintball Fit's going to win this thing. And I'll tell you what I did in the final match when we get there, because I made a stupid spectator mistake, but I'll tell you when we get there.
I can't wait to hear this.
You guys go into the Tampa Bay Damage match, obviously feeling very confident.
Yeah. I mean, we knew the mistakes we made the day before. I mean, we went over film that the night before. We knew that pretty much Rainey we couldn't go wide against Randy. He was just he just had our number. So we pretty much had a goal to kill. I can't think. Bruce, number 7. He was doing the middle, so we were gonna key up on him and try to whenever Randy went to go fill out to the Cobra to keep.
You're talking about Chad coming up, right?
Chad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Chad. So, and then not letting Randy just kill all of our guys and then play on 5-on-5 paintball. And we felt that we could play better 5-on-5 paintball the next day. So,
and not only did you guys not have to play 5-on-5, because I think you shot somebody off the break every single point. And one of the points, maybe 2 in a row that I watched, you guys shot 2 of them off.
Yeah, I mean,
correct.
Against the Russians and against FSU, there was a couple different times we killed both Dorito players, and maybe even one snake player. I mean, there was one game I think we killed 3 people off break. So
wow, yeah,
that's incredible.
All right, so you come out of the Tampa Bay damage game. Obviously, now the confidence is building, right?
Yep.
And I think also maybe the hunger, right? Like,
for sure.
When I see your group, especially how confident they are, I don't think it's we have to go play the Russians. I think you guys are like, we get to go play the Russians.
100%. I mean, that's who knocked us out of the last tournament. That's who we played the last tournament, and that's what going into that night. I'm like, look, we get a rematch of both. That's who Sunday we lost against Tampa Bay, and then we lost the last event. We lost against the Russians. So guess what? We get to rewrite both of those. And this is the one that matters, is World Cup. And so, we like I said, we studied the film, and we kind of came up a game plan of like, this is what we want to do. So,
yeah. And then, your soldiers go out there, and Thomas Taylor brings it up, and I was going to bring this up kind of in a joking way, but then Colt goes out, plays a pretty lazy one-on-one against, I don't know, maybe one of the best, definitely top 5 player in the world. I think shoots him behind his bunker. Like, Malloy was barely out of the spot when Colt shot him in the head.
I know. He's just like, what did something fall out of the sky?
I had a perfect view of it. I mean, Malloy did look surprised, he was barely getting set up, and the ball hit him in the head. I was like, this is insanity. Right. So and especially when that happened, I was like, okay, they kind of got this.
Yeah.
But then things shifted a little bit, right? So you guys are up 3-0, I think, after that one-on-one. And then things took it to the Russians became the Russians, right? They started doing Russian stuff.
Yep.
They began to get a little bit wild through the middle of the field, started shooting more of you off the break, got really focused and dialed in.
3 of us off break.
Yeah, got really focused and dialed in and began to chip away, right? They began to chip away. I think they scored 2 before you get your next one, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So they score 2, you get another one now that you guys are still 2 up, and then they score 2 more.
Yep.
And you're in an even game at the end.
Yep.
Right. One of the shifts I saw you guys make that I thought was really, really intelligent, and I don't know if this was your decision or Johnny or team, whatever, is the double in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
2 guys in the middle.
Well, the goal that was so Trenton's. I expressed on Trenton. I was like, look, brother, I need you to be the one. We had Cyrus or Scott normally going up snake side, and I was like, Trenton, I need you to shoot your shot and then immediately go up to Xbox, because they're gonna our goal was to isolate Kirill or kill Kirill, kill the Merlo player, and then try to isolate Malloy, and then J-Rab was normally filling from home over. So we could kill J-Rab on the fill over. We have Malloy just in the snake, or we're matched in the snake, and then we have normally our Cyrus or whoever that guy is waiting for him to shoot him. So we 2-on-1 him, and then Chavi and Trenton can play cleanup. So
yeah,
smart.
Really smart adjustment.
Really smart.
Really smart adjustment, because most teams were maybe one in the middle, maybe not. Right. And let's go wire to wire.
And
I thought it was really,
but that was something that we struggled in the past. And that was actually, going back to what you said earlier about after the event, that was one thing that we struggled in the past. And that was one thing I told them that we have to get more of a middle presence. Like nobody ever fears us in the middle.
Totally
but
agree.
we have the people that can do it. It's just, you got to do it, And so we had a lot of these conversations going into World Cup.
I thought early in the year that was your only deficiency, was you were kind of missing a middle presence.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Wow. Okay. So you guys pull out the match against Russians, and now at this point you got to be filled with confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've just toppled the team that won the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'd already won the series at that point. And again, only 3 teams all year have taken down the Red Legion. So you guys move on now to play AC Diesel. Starts out not good for you guys.
No.
I think they come out and win like the first 2 points. And then kind of chaos sets in, right? So Cyrus comes down, bunkers, BJ Henningberg kind of canoes him.
Mm-hmm.
BJ gets up, bumps shoulders, and both those guys are out, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I do want to back up because I think it's important. If we're going to talk about this story, I want to tell it the right way.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people online right now, all they're seeing is the thing that happened with Cyrus and the thing that happened with Clint. And there's some lead up to this.
Oh,
so if you go back and watch your match with Tampa Bay Damage, I think Jacob Edwards comes around the spot head high on Cyrus, blows his eardrums out. Which again, now Cyrus is like, all right, so if the referees are going to allow this type of violence to occur, I'm in, right? Let's do it.
Right.
If that's what we're going to do, fine, then let's do it. But then, understand that there's going to be chest bumping and there's going to be whatever, right? And so then we look at the infamous game with AC Diesel. Yeah, we look at the infamous game with AC Diesel and Mouse and I forgot his name again.
Zach Patient.
Mouse and Zach get up out of the snake face to face, blow each other to pieces. Clint Johnson still, tapping Zach up.
Yeah,
he put it on him, right? Which I get, right? If that's my snake guy and you're doing that, I'm gonna tap you up the whole time, especially if the refs are gonna allow me to do it.
Right.
So the
precedent had been set. The precedent had been set.
Intensity and kind of the attitude that, okay, if the refs are going to allow us to do this, game on, right? Let's go. Right. So I didn't necessarily think that what Clint did next was really much different than what Cyrus did. Cyrus goes around and canoes.
BJ.
That's like
BJ.
when you row the boat with the gun past the guy as you're going by him. He didn't even just canoe him. Like he turned all the way sideways, chest square, tapping BJ up. I didn't necessarily think what Clint did was much worse until later, right? And then touching the ref, which again, the ref's calling him out. Clint's just kind of walking into him and then smacks his hand away. But there was a lot of lead up to that
for
occurring,
sure,
right? It wasn't like it was just because it was Fit and Diesel, which of course that's an emotional game for both of you.
I mean, that's always going to be an emotional game, right? I mean, these guys
totally. It's like old big
Texas
brother
teams.
against young brother who's coming into the league. Both have a point to make to the other. It's kind of that we're fighting over the drumstick at Thanksgiving dinner, right? Like I'm the big brother now, but nonetheless, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because I know it was a weird emotional thing. Like that's not Clint Johnson. That's not who he is as a human being and a player. He just lost his
he
shit.
came up to Colt later and was like, look, no, I mean, no.
Yeah, of course. Right. Because there is an immense amount of respect, right?
For sure.
Back and forth.
Sure.
So obviously that match ends up going heavily in your direction with all the penalties and the chaos. I think they start with 2 the next point. And then you guys win that one pretty quick.
Well,
and
then they get a minor on the 2 on. Yeah, then
they get a minor, so they're starting with 4 the next point.
Yeah, I mean, it just kept on spiraling.
Right, and then you have Kyle Spica and Rene Rodriguez, who really didn't play much throughout the event because now you got 3 guys in the naughty box. So again, I would have loved for that match to have been played differently, just so you could really Yeah, so we would have got a real match. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. The refs got to do what they got to do. But if you're going to allow that type of violence early in the event, don't get shocked when it gets mildly out of control later.
Right.
Like, don't be surprised when the guys take it a little too far, because that's just how the shit works, right? We're men playing a pretty violent game.
Like said, they should have made the precedent earlier on Sunday whenever it started happening, and then it wouldn't have kept on happening.
Yeah, a few warnings would have probably been a good idea, right?
Kind of like pointing or something. Yeah.
I'm not excusing.
Me and Mark actually joked. We're like, all right, well, we need the penalty boxes behind the thing so our guys can run out now. At one point, they had 2 and we had 1 in the penalty back there.
Yeah, so it just got chaotic, right? Again, I wish we would have gotten to see like a real 5-on-5 the whole time, because I do think you guys were both playing the field so well. That would have been an incredibly entertaining match for a good reason.
Yeah,
right?
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, I think it would have been a lot of fun and potentially prepared you guys differently to go into the next match you're about to play with Impact, right? Yeah. To get a few more situations, a little more intensity in the right way, right? For you guys to go in and play that next match. So you guys are coming out of the AC Diesel match and you're about to jump into this Impact match. So walk us through a little bit of the emotion, what's happening in the pit. You guys obviously have been here before, just not in this environment.
Right. I mean, well, one, you got a long break between semis and finals. So, I mean, my main goal was like, all right, look, I'm about to get all the notes. I'm going to go, just kind of dissect any little nuances I can find, send it to all you guys, and just and really I was like, y'all need to stay hydrated and just like be ready for the next match, but I mean, a lot of it was just being mentally ready to play this next match. And I mean, we felt pretty confident. I mean, going into it, I mean, obviously, we get down, but I mean, we felt really confident going into it. Everybody, I mean, the emotions, just the national anthem, all that emotions right there, right? Being part of that was totally pretty incredible. I don't know, it was just being on that stage with the national anthem was awesome to me. So
I think it would have been better if you guys would have had more fans there.
Yeah, just a couple more, right?
But that's an important aspect though, because when you're playing Paintball Fit, you really are playing the room, you're playing the stadium, you're playing their fans, and that's such an integral, such a psychological advantage, right? Where you have that constant, support, and I mean, and it's electric, man. I get it.
Oh man, it was like, I mean, of course, when you're in the game, like you have to like try to tune, like whenever I'm like in my, like we have to kind of like try to tune it out, because like I told you earlier, at one point under 10 seconds I'm like trying to calm them all down so I can yell what I see on the box and stuff like that. But I mean, it was amazing. So we lose Ryan.
I don't think we've lost him. I think maybe something came up and he's got to, but this is great. Now I have you all to myself and I have all these questions I have to ask you. No, Cassey, honestly, fantastic. So I get the fact that, heading into the Impact match, you're feeling confident, you're feeling this. Had you had a chance to had you basically said, okay, this is our game plan and we're going to impose it. It doesn't matter. And this is for divisional coaches out there, divisional players out there. How much were you adapting to your opponents, or how much were you making your opponents adapt to you? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, I messed up our first play. Like I should have dissected the dynasty match, because they really keyed up on Archie, and the first point the second point we tried to send Cyrus up there, and they keyed up on Cyrus where he couldn't go up the middle of the field. So that was one thing that I messed up as coach or whatever, because I mean, Cyrus kind of had the free move to go to the area in between and either launch or not, and
So he was making a read.
Yeah, he's making a
Mhm.
read, but like the second point, I was like, no, we need to get up there or whatever. So I mean, that was something that I messed up, and I gave them that free body essentially because I mean they did such a good job of isolating Archie,
Right.
when they were playing against Dynasty. So
Right. Well, and I think that's an important. Thank you for joining us again, Ryan. I just asked him when he was going into the impact match, how much was he? Yes, how much was he?
I could hear all that.
Oh,
I
you
could
did
hear
hear
it.
all that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
I can hear
awesome,
everything. Yeah.
wonderful. All right, well, in that case, so I guess also, so back to that other question though, I get the fact that you scouted impact. So when you scouted impact and you understood that, so and based off the one play call that you just mentioned that you made a mistake, what have you, but so you were still, it did appear that you were still imposing your will. You were making them adapt to your game plan, and you were executing the game plan until you stop this game plan. Nothing's changing. We're going to continue to shoot two of you off the break, and you're going to have to deal with this as we create pressure.
100. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people didn't have a lot of success killing the snake guy going off break, and the person that normally did was either the guy going up or the guy going to what we call the money, and like they had to play the inside of that money where you can have that gap or that cut. So our goal was to keep that area flooded at all point in time. I mean, because everybody kept saying, "Oh, why is Colt not getting out of the home and stuff like that?" But there was a lot of shots that he contained the snake guy, like from just continue to freely move down. And there, I mean,
and shot him a few times.
He did
definitely shot him. I mean, like I said, there's a lot more than people like, he's got to get out of the home. He's quarterbacking every side. And they were literally, I mean, like I said,
Andy has that height.
We left our guy in the home quite a bit. Because I thought the same thing.
Definitely, you can't have two guys in the home, but like I said, we had Chavi. I mean, really and truly, like, and I saw someone saying about him being on his own island. Like, so our goal was for him to go to Delta or go all the way out to the corner, get to the tower over there, and really, I mean, everybody knows, like, you can go all the way on their side, the Dorito side, and you're never really feeling comfortable, even whenever someone's on Dorito side, on your Dorito side, because all it takes is one of those players to take out that guy because nobody can save him. So
that's right. Well, and that was a lot of game plans, including one of my own, right? I want to create pressure early. I can get to your side of the field. You have to deal with them. As long as my guy doesn't gunfight you, you have to contain.
Right. You have to respect. Yeah. You
have to respect it, which allows the two to get in there and become a force multiplier behind it. But anyway, mine didn't work. Yours did. Good job. So, we're about to get into the match here, and I just wanted to get kind of that mentality, that understanding from a coach's perspective for our listeners and watchers on, hey, heading into that semifinal match, what kind of preparation are we doing? We're going to impose our will. We don't feel like we need to adjust. Oh, no, look, I mean, they're doing this.
I went over like, I looked over their success of killing the wide snake guy, that was one thing that, like, I felt like we could still go to snake and it wasn't going to be that big of an issue. And if once they shot him, then we can go short.
There you go.
Because I mean, like I said, that's what we did against Damage. Rainey was shooting both of those guys. So, all right, we can't do that. So we adjusted to that. And, we can make the adjustments if we needed to. But like I said, we still went snake. So
I love it.
Yeah, so this first point, we'll play some of it, but it's pretty like,
it's a long,
right? Because like we play 7 minutes of paintball and nobody wins the point, right?
Right.
But we'll kind of start it off.
Which I feel like we should have, but yeah.
Say that one more time.
I said I feel like I think it would end up being like a no point. I think it should have went the other way.
It's very anticlimactic. It's a really long point and
100%,
no
100%.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the dancer here.
Yeah, we got that pocket shooter playing.
Yep.
I thought Cyrus did that really well.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah, he danced.
Is that Mason? Is that Mason who broke out Dorito way? Okay.
Yep.
He was playing very well too.
Yep.
There's the setup, right? You get that combo out there. As soon as they let you spread, you've got the snake. You let that guy get out there in the corner behind him. That was the setup.
Yep.
This is what I was kind of talking about earlier, where you have a decision to make, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Impact chooses, you can see what they're on the outside edge of their spots, right? Not in here where the snake guy can sneak them.
Right.
Outside edge of the spots, void in the middle of the field, right?
Yep.
So teams kind of played this layout in two different ways. They either were present in the middle and let their guys potentially in the first Dorito and the snake cross, to protect their guy in the middle of the field, or they played the edges, right? And just focus kind of on the guy in front of them, which does put Xavi in a kind of an uncomfortable situation, right?
Oh, for sure.
He's 2-on-1 really being on the edge. He does have Trent behind him in the mini win, but both these guys can shoot at the one guy in front.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing about that Dorito right there is he's completely protected. That inset Dorito is completely protected from the snake size advance until he's way on your side of the field. So if he's playing that edge, he's good to go. Same for that mini wall behind it. You have to be on that side of the field. The guy has to look inside, as you were saying,
right,
Ryan, before you have a shot on him. Now, if you go ahead and you double that up like that, and they're doubling that, the advantage of that is essentially what Chavez is doing is he's essentially, okay, I'm going to concede to this point because from that mini wall, there's not much you can really do to stop or slow advancement on the Dorito side, right? So he's basically conceding it and he's shooting a gap and keeping paint in that gap.
Right, which, I mean, and if you notice, so once Trenton moves up, he goes snake side, and then Colt goes Dorito side to actually help control that zone also. So.
And you're kind of inviting them to come onto your side.
Well, and that's
you are
what we wanted. Yeah, that's what we wanted.
So we've lost Trenton out of the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew you had a snake, but someone picked him up.
Yeah,
Chavez shoots him in this second.
I believe.
Yep. I mean, he almost shot him in their first exchange.
Yeah.
Right. And that back corner mini Dorito was powerful if you wanted to stop any secondary field past that god, or what you guys would call money. I said
those back two bunkers on Dorito's side were like the tower that he's in right now. I mean, those multiple times that Xavi would be past that, and I'm like, Xavi, like those two bunkers are very, very important. Like let's not keep pressing because we can get a lot of kill shots on snake. There was a lot of bounce shots that could kill the snakes too.
So that was your corner player who picked up JC, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Cyrus.
Must be the next point.
So that'd be Cyrus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a lot of different positions very well. He was kind of your insert player.
Yeah, he was my two on snake.
This is the best paintball I've ever seen that kid play.
Yeah, no, he played. He had a hell of an event. So, he puts a lot of work. I mean, like I said,
I honestly didn't think he had a very good year.
Well, I mean, I don't think he didn't play one point in Vegas. And then, like I said, he's just continuing getting better and better every week. So,
I mean, he's the MVP.
Right.
I mean, he comes out of the World Cup and plays his ass off. I mean, he was just outstanding. I watched like so many shots that he just did not miss. I mean, he was very, very good.
I like what Chavez does here. So Chavez, once the first snake's eliminated, he knows Cyrus is here as the force multiplier behind your snake one. Even though there was a corner, he decides, okay, I don't have to do this job anymore. I can go offensive into these Dorito sides and create pressure, create a threat, right? And give these guys something to think about. And I thought that
Yep.
was well done. However, Urena feeds the snake and does become a threat. So,
Right.
and that's why you see him playing as tight as he is.
God,
Well,
Chavez
and
is he's so tiny.
Oh,
Did you see that shot behind
Mhm.
him? He's like this big. He's so little. Perfect paintball size.
I agree. I wish I had a 6-footer and then 7 sea rights.
Yeah.
So, all right, 2 6-footers, and to clarify, sea right's height. 1 sea right's enough. That kid's too smart for me.
So this right here, Cyrus was actually on the cross. We actually thought that the major was on him, which actually I guess they ended up turning it wet. How it ended up being a no point is they downgraded it to a minor or something. I don't know.
So he threw the wrong flag. But
Yeah.
what was the penalty for?
But
Was
you
it for
see, so you see
spinning
how
or for was
Cyrus
it
is
for,
like, no, I shot him. I shot him.
yeah.
Because like I said, you go back, you can see where he's looking across because they knew Urena just died, and they like I said, they knew that there was a 2-on-1 over there. One of them had to come get Chavi
Yeah,
out.
he's shooting.
Yeah, you can see it there.
Yeah.
Oh, like he
You can
was,
see it.
but they ended up giving. They were trying to give Chavi the major. They
You
ended
can
up
see the
downgrading-
paint come off of him.
I know.
See it right here?
Right
You
there.
see the angle of that?
Yeah, I know. Trust me. We I mean, there's only so much, as we can only do this. I was like, well, we can only let's worry about the next point. I can't keep arguing. So, anyways, that's why I end up being a no point and starting 5-on-5. Like, so, but yeah.
Okay. All
Like I
right.
said, Impact got away with a couple of them.
So you guys end up starting the next point with 4 then.
No. We started with 5 because Cyrus was still alive, so it was a 5-on-5 no point is what they
Okay. All right.
ruled it.
Hence the no point. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, because Cyrus was still alive. They ended up turning into a minor, not a major. So
Okay.
So
we're
real quick.
0-0. Go
mhm.
ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, so we're reading the box here, right, Cassey? So you're going to have a double home. You're going to have an overload Dorito side, possibly a pocket shooter, what have you.
And then
So what? Yeah. So your guys are you shifting a gun? Are you calling an audible at this point? What are you doing?
I'm shifting the gun, which I mean we pretty much knew. We almost knew exactly where they were going because they only were going to that mini Aztec double home, and you just had to figure out where the other guy on Doritos side was.
So here's a tough question for you. So were you shifting that gun and attacking the weak side, or were you going for the body side?
Shifting the gun, yeah, attacking the weak side. So
smart man. There we go, my man.
So you're trying to shoot JC.
Trying to shoot JC here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man. Because if you can shoot him off the break, and you can get in there and wrap and don't let them spread, and then have the snake to yourself, rock on, baby. I'll shut up now. Okay. Yeah, there's that pocket.
Yeah, so that's the lane you were talking about earlier when I was grabbing my inhaler. You can see where Cyrus is kind of released into the dead zone, and then he kind of right there. Yep, and that is where exactly it's on this cross over here. You can see right there, number 19.
Yep.
Shoots this cross right into that dead spot right there.
Yep.
So right before he shifted. Yep. And that's the same place they were shooting Archie from.
Yeah.
And you lost Colt out of home on that one too, huh?
Yeah.
That had to have been JC coming out putting paint back.
You got paintball fitted.
He dove right into that Aztec and immediately just
and just came up and started putting the paint.
Yeah, and Colt. Yeah.
You got paintball fitted right there.
We did.
You lost 2 off the break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this one, they put somebody in the middle of the field.
Yep.
Mhm. So let's see. You're in Dorito 3, home, head of the snake. So it's a 4-on-3 right now. So we pick somebody up. Must have missed it.
Yeah, I think we killed I think we might have killed one of the home players or filling out or something.
Makes sense.
I would love to just have an overhead view the
Oh,
whole
I
time.
know. Yeah. And that's actually because I mean that was one thing I told Johnny. I was like, look, 3-on-4. We have faith in our guys to. I was like, but if one more dies, we have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking for them to dig one out, you know.
Yeah.
It's a 3-on-4. You don't have bad position. Might be able to pick up a secondary fill. They let Mason get out there.
Well, I mean, we have Scott and the Snake still, so
yeah, you got Scott and the Snake. And look at that. We pick one up. So
oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was a
oh, there was 5. Okay, so
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
53. But now it's a 43. And yeah, I think, and it was, you know, it's a long point. There was still a lot of time left on that. I don't think it was panic button time yet.
No. But actually that is one thing that I said, like because I told at this point they were on our side still, and I was like, look, Trenton don't have much paint, and I don't think Chavi has much paint. So at some point we have to
Yeah, you
start
got to make a
thinking.
decision.
You got to make
Yeah.
a decision. Yeah. Either they've got to go try and make something happen, or you have to make a decision in that.
Right. So, because we didn't want to leave like no time with, you know, let's, you know, I don't know. I guess we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bo, you could be right. That could have been Laval.
This is actually looking at the way Impact's playing this. Smart. Going to play whack-a-mole in the middle. One of the best ways to keep progress from happening in the snake is having your own snake. And then, well, look at that.
Yeah.
He's on the cross. So I thought they were going to attack your weak side one with the 2 they are. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So they're going to, so that's what it looked like they were setting up to bully the one gun on the Dorito way.
Yeah, Impact plays this really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with the snake 2 on the cross, you know, he's protected against the, you know, the highway one Dorito side. So,
you know, with their 3 on Scott, where he couldn't just freely go down the snake.
mm-hmm.
So, and I believe once he dies, and well, our towel wasn't working. Actually,
Ours didn't work a lot.
like it was crazy. Well, and then the fans were so loud. So like I'm running, I'm running like trying to towel, and then running back, yelling, and like Jason and Ahal can't hear me, so I'm just like have to run all the way down there, say like, "Hey, towel," you know.
Right.
Yeah. Now you've blown.
Now you
Yeah.
did. There you go. I like how
Yeah,
Mason
so-
tried to make something happen a little bit, right? Because if he can dunk that dude out, he might be able to run down the snake.
Right.
So
Yeah, so 4 minutes 22 seconds left, and we played essentially 1 point.
Yeah.
it's
well, we've got one point scored,
Yeah.
but we've played 2 points.
That's what I mean. Essentially,
Yeah,
1
essentially.
point, right? Based on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Which again is just one of those like we don't have a lot of time to work with, right?
No.
So Okay, let's another check moment here. It's now 1-zip. There's 4:20 on the clock. You saw how that played out, right? Because they used the pocket. You lost your pocket shooter and you lost home on. Are you telling yourself, hey, we just need to let's get on our 5 spots alive and we're going to win this?
Yeah, I mean, so the next point, like I said, we don't risk Cyrus. He actually goes more. He goes into the bunker and then eventually makes his way up. Like we're not gonna risk him off break. We still go to the snake off break because, like I said, their success killing the snake. I think they killed one person the whole event, actually killing someone to the snake or like off break. So we're gonna still go there. So
all right. Again, imposing your will, saying, hey, you got to stop it.
Right.
So I love it.
Yeah, Verb is talking about, and I saw that too. During the review, there was 3 seconds that disappeared from the clock. I thought that was interesting, right? Because every second counts.
Yeah.
Right.
Every second. So, you know, that we had a match last year where, you know, 2.5 minutes were added to the clock and we just stopped running, which is so weird. You know?
Yeah.
They really should have somebody with an official stopwatch, right?
Yeah, like
probably 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
So box read is such a big deal on this layout. Like
100%.
understanding how to
Yes.
how to look at this, you know. So you guys are basically flip-flopped here.
Right. Which actually a lot of teams played more of 2 on Dorito side instead of the multiple on snake side.
Yeah, and I think that's a strength thing, you know, for certain teams, a strength thing and a comfort thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed that as well.
I think people felt more comfortable going up to the middle from that Aztec.
Bingo.
No, and I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, way more people played multiple playing D side compared to going snake. Like a lot of people would leave the snake Aztec open and then flood over there. But
yeah, we did that quite a bit. But also it depended on who we were playing. Like if we're playing somebody who's playing the middle really strong, you know, we played more going Dorito way just simply because we knew then our snake eye was going to get stopped.
Right. Yeah.
So.
So kill 1 off the break. You're in your standard setup. Well, except for that. I do like.
Man, from the VIP, it looked like Mikey got shot when he went across.
He did. Look,
he's kind of acting like it, wasn't he?
He did. Like I was like, because I was there. I was like, man, something definitely broke off right there, you know. But
yeah.
Because like I said, I'm at the net literally right there, and I was just like, dude, are we not even gonna go check them?
Yeah.
But.
Verbal is reporting that he was definitely hit in the feed neck.
Okay. I thought so. Yeah.
Photographic evidence.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad my old eyes could still see that from all the way at the back of the VIP. Making me feel better, Verb. And I appreciated the no penalty there too.
Right. Oh, you lost Mason up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So it's a 4 on
3 on 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point it's 2-on-4, right?
Yeah, it was right around the 2-minute mark because I know that we were trying to tally it. I'm trying to think. It was like 150-ish or whatever.
So you're trying to tally it at this point, correct?
Not. I remember it was like 1 and some change because like I ran back there at one point, and then it's still not working, and then go back to tell them like, hey, because they end up giving us 10 seconds, and I'm just like, no, I was trying to, so
They can see when you're trying to push it.
Yeah.
Like the one mine was broken, I walked up and I was like, it was like 20 seconds. She goes, it was 18. And I was like, all right, my bad. It was 18 seconds. Like, she's like, I can see where you tried to push it. And I'm like, okay, well, it didn't register. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
well, they only
I was trying to steal 2 seconds from you.
They end up giving us 10 seconds back. So.
We're at 120.
It's 108, I think is or
I
they
believe
end up
it's
giving us
108.
Yeah.
9-8.
Nope. That's what they end up
4?
giving it back.
Yeah, they end up giving us,
Okay, so let me tell you what my fan faux pas was right here. I got up.
I'm waiting for this.
I got up and walked out of the VIP.
Yeah.
And I said,
because you thought it was over.
Yep. I told there was a guy from Alabama sitting in front of me. And I said, with the way Impact can lock this thing up, it's over. I don't think Paintball Fit can score 2 in a minute.
So
I got up and walked away and walked back to the booth.
The Dynasty match, we're in the same pit as Impact. And I was, so Dave Bain was like, this is our hold play. Don't forget this is our hold play. And so
I knew it.
I wrote the whole play down, and I'm like, well, this is the bunkers they're going to right here.
Here's the whole play, guys.
Here's
the
whole
holes
play,
in the whole play.
There it is. I knew it was coming. I knew it. When you said, well, we were in the pit, and I was like, here it comes. He heard the hold play call. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was them versus Dynasty. And like I said, he was like screaming at the net, and I'm like, well, hell. And so I kind of like look over there, and I'm like, well, let me go ahead and write this down just in case.
Smart man.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I got up, walked out, went back over to where the scout booth was. Now they had a TV in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's like a 30-second delay. Okay. So I get back over there. Now there were multiple, and I take this off so that I can fast forward through all the timeouts. So there's 2 timeouts that get called, or a timeout gets called and a game stoppage or a clock stoppage for something.
Yeah.
So I walk away, right? And I'm back at the booth helping them clean things up. And then I hear this roar, right? And I hear the first one, I hear the second one, and I realize like, oh, that's Paintball Fit shooting guys, right? Because it was just like every time you guys shot somebody, there was just a roar, right?
Yeah.
And then a few seconds later, there was this like massive sound.
Jubilation, jubilee.
Yes. I was like, okay, they won a point, right? And now I'm paying attention to the TV.
Right.
I'm watching, look, because I don't know how much time's left. And then when I saw how much time's left, I was like, damn it, I screwed up. I screwed up. Love this play.
Yeah.
Love it.
Especially that read over on the Dorito side and the Dorito side wall like that. Well done.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, Mikey got shot in the arm
I
right
know.
there.
That was like,
Yeah.
a penalty. I mean, like I said, I rewatched this a few times. Like, man, they definitely could have. It could have been a lot easier for us. There could have been
right,
but it worked. It worked how it worked. So
Sure. Yeah, it worked how it was supposed to
it
work.
was supposed to, right? Yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, you go back and it's like, man, how was that not? I mean, that was a definitely hit and kept on playing. But
So 31-second point, right? Now we're going into the last one. What's the mentality?
I mean, we're coming. I mean, I just
Well,
I
for
told the
sure.
guys, like it was this. Do we want it? You know, and I mean,
yeah.
we knew that we had to get a kill off break and just put it. You know, come
This
at 'em.
play I felt like I had seen in the Russian match.
So you have to get a kill off break. So who are you picking on?
Who we the guy going up the center was our main focus.
And were you
him.
doing that with a
'Cause,
pocket, or were you having?
He can kind of dictate the whole entire. I mean, that guy right there is
Right.
and was one of the key people. I mean, that's what we did against the Russians. Because if he makes, I mean, like you said, the point before, Trenton makes a great read, just cuts down that whole entire zone. Like that person can literally dictate the whole entire game. He's the one that kills normally that body, and he can go to their side of the field real quick. And there's really not much you can do about it.
Now, were you using a run and gun or a pocket, or were you having Colt wrap from the home and just shoot the straight?
Bobby and Scott were both should have been running and gunning out to the corners. Okay. Brody is going to Tiger or going to the snake and going down, and then obviously you got Colt and Trenton shooting and then releasing.
Okay, perfect. Look at that, running, gunning, and running to the snake.
And the Dorito 2. And shooting guys.
2, and shooting guys.
The tempo of this is just perfect.
Well, right. And then nobody, I mean, like I said, there was so many people, like you said, you walk back to the thing. Tyler Harmon said, like, he said, like, we heard they're cleaning the HK booth. I talked to him at the airport. He's like, dude, after we saw, I was like, yeah, there's no chance. They're down 2-0 with a minute or whatever. He's like, then we hear like the crowd. He's like, man, we run all the way from HK booth and come to the VIP just to watch the final match because they're like, holy crap, what has just happened? He's
the
like,
final minute, right?
Point.
Yeah,
29-second
point. The whole match was the final minute.
Yeah,
it was 29-second point. Look at that.
I mean, look at that crowd.
Yeah.
Just going nuts. And that has to just be so much fuel.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like once we had the momentum right there. Of course, like you said, everybody used. I mean, we had the momentum. We were locked in. It was like, all right, look, we had it. So,
yeah, I gotcha. Well, let's watch this last one, man, because this is the overtime point, and I'd imagine that this one's just as much a barn burner. So, and then we got a couple more questions for you after that. Yeah.
What's your play call going into this final point?
We didn't want to give up Cyrus's body, so we did the red. We still went to Tiger. We went short on Chavi, and then the double.
What's
double
the Tiger?
homage.
The Tiger snake, right?
Our snake. Yeah. Everybody else.
First brick in the snake.
The first brick. Yeah.
Got it. You got to remember, not everybody who's watching knows your codes.
Right. Everybody from
the epic slow motion.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that stupid little 3-second thing.
I was like, are we really playing it 2? And I was just like, because normally we went in right into overtime, right? And I was like, all right, well, we got to send the body out there. So, because any time else, that's always like, hey, we're going right into overtime, and that didn't happen. So, but I don't think either team had a timeout at that point either.
Okay, they did. You guys had both burned it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we were okay with that because we just ran down the field twice. So.
So they're back to their standard.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I did like the shift to put.
So we went Chavi to D1 because we had.
I did like that.
D1. I forgot.
You hadn't been going there.
The whole entire tournament.
That
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Hadn't been going there.
And that was actually Johnny that was like, hey, let's, we just discussed going to D1 because he had been shot going to Delta. He'd been shot going or out to the 2 back Dorito spots. Yeah.
We actually had this play in our playbook. We called it double jeopardy. We never had an opportunity to really leverage it.
Yeah, we ran it against the Russians.
Yeah.
This exact
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, because Cyrus is in Overwatch with the snake guy, which he's about to mess up. So Cyrus saw a sliver of his pack right there.
Yeah, he was waiting. He was waiting. Great filter.
And I love the discipline here that the guys they didn't start just running.
Right.
Stayed composed.
I mean, by that shift creates an additional containment that is also creates a positioning that is just, oh, he got shot though. Dad nabbit. I spoke too soon. But I understood exactly what he was wanting to do. Highly intelligent right there. Yeah, this is where I wish we had some mics on the field, right, where we could hear the players communicating. Yeah, there it is. Da, 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 da. So now it should be a 3-on-2. Yep. It's a 3-on-2. Advantage to you guys.
Yeah.
And you got plenty of time to close this out. We don't have to be running around and getting crazy.
Just really intelligent too.
Mm-hmm.
I like the edge guys crossed, allowing the middle guy to kind of shift around, do what he wants. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, once that corner's gone, yeah. Bye-bye. Night-night. That's a terrible feeling, by the way, being in that mini wall and it's
oh yeah,
it's a 3-on-1 because it's coming. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the celebration.
That's right.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? I love it. Fantastic. Good stuff right there.
See, Archie's in there in the comments.
Mr. Barnes Jr. ABJ.
I wonder how he got hurt in the aftermath match.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to turn his ankle is what it looked like. Well, Cassey, wow. Great match. Wonderful story. You and all of the really the entire Paintball Fit community is such a big part of that win. So congratulations again. Every time they say nobody's ever done this, it seems like Paintball Fit figures out how to do it. Nobody's ever won 5 tournaments a row in semi-pro.
That's right.
You guys did that. No rookie pro team has ever come in and won the World Cup. You guys have now done that. What are we looking at now? Like, what's next?
I don't know what hasn't been done yet.
I mean, nobody in America has ever won 5 tournaments in a row in pro.
I mean, hey,
right.
that might be next. Just watch.
Yeah.
Watch and see. Watch and see.
I think it's
I love it.
you know, I love the idea that that it's like, if it can't be done, we're going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
If they say it can't be done.
Right.
I love the mentality. Right. And I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. You guys just want to win. Right.
No, I mean, yeah, it's 100%. I mean, we know, I mean, like, we expect to be where we're like when we're like, what did we, you know, it's a lot of like, we go back and watch them like, man, like, what are you doing? Like these little errors on the videos. Cause like, you know, better, you know, like we go. And so, I mean, the guys are super hard on themselves. Yeah. I mean,
As they should be.
I mean, like I said,
That's what champions do.
right. I mean, yes, it's the first time being pro that we've been on that stage, but we've been on that stage our D4 season, our D3 season, our semi-pro season, like multiple times. So that's just our expectation, you know, which I mean should be any team. Like, why are you there if you're not, you know? So
Yeah, you're not going to that event thinking, oh, I hope we go 1-3. You're not doing that. Yeah, you're going, hey,
the difference is the work.
That's right.
The difference is the work, right? You guys say we want to win tournaments, and then you buy the plane ticket. I tell this story when teams say like, we want to win a tournament, right? And then you watch the actions in which they take to get there, and they half-ass everything, right? It's like the person who says they want to take a trip to LA, but they never buy a plane ticket. They never go to the airport. They never get on a plane, right? Like when you guys say we want to win tournaments, it's not bullshit. You guys do the work.
Yeah.
You have intentional process that gets you to the place you want to go. So, I mean, the expectation should be to win tournaments for sure if you're playing in the professional league, but then comes all the work, right? Mm-hmm. All the work comes. And if you're not doing the work, then you saying you want to win tournaments is bullshit.
Yeah, it's not true. Yeah. It's that simple.
Mike gets mad at me when I curse.
No, but I'm going to let that one go because that's absolutely right. It's bullshit. If you're not putting in the work, right? That's exactly what it is. Because it is. If you're sitting there saying, I want to win, but you're not putting in the work, yeah, you're full of it.
Hey, Danny, they skipped D2.
Well, D2 was COVID season, so we only played 3 events. We got
That's why I say you kind of skipped it.
Yeah.
Because then the next year you guys went up, you were AC Dallas, and then came back down, and you had to play in semi-pro.
Right. I mean, I mean, a lot of people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, you've been there pro." I was like, "Man, we were a D3 team that went and played pro." Like, y'all don't even have a clue. Like, I was actually not a fan of it at all. I was just like, "What are we doing?" But I mean, it was a good experience, you know.
Absolutely, it's experience. It's absolutely good
experience. One of the things that I was like not buying it. I mean, I was not a fan of it, but it was one of their family decisions and Greg Pauly and all that, and so I was just like, look, I'll be here, whatever. But
I understand that story. Trust me.
But I mean, like I said, then we have our semi-pro year. The first one, we don't go in by 1 point, thanks to Ryan Gray. But I mean, it makes the story even much better, right?
Right.
You know, and then we go next year, we're 5-5.
And we had a good year that year when I go back and look at it. It's not like people are like, you guys snuck. They're like, you guys snuck in. And I'm like, we had a fourth, a second, a fourth, a second, a fourth, a second, and then we won the World Cup. We had a good year.
I agree 100%. Yeah. But I just remember me and you having that conversation. You were like you thought we had the series.
Totally.
I came to y'all I'm like, no, y'all won the series, and you're like, no, we just won the event. I'm like, no. I remember you're like, oh.
and what did my face look like?
Oh, it was in shock, like, oh well.
Not just shock, concern, because I knew
it was 100%.
That we weren't ready.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like I said, it's just this story in general is just a super awesome story. I mean, heck, I wish Bird, or I mean, I guess he has been, but I mean, just if they ever did a documentary of like Paintball Fit and like how it all like transpired of like it's just an awesome story.
That will come. It will come.
100%.
There's going to be somebody, because I have a feeling you guys are young, right?
Yeah.
So like that group has a lot more paintball in front of them. And at some point, just like they're doing now with Dynasty, and that story, of course, has been told through multiple parts of the different iterations of Dynasty, and now going to be tied together with the film that Dan Napoli and Alex and the group is working on. But that's the kind of things, if you guys continue down the path you're going and they stay together, you can expect those same types of things. I mean, shit, I remember watching the kids on Apex Predators, and again, I've seen those kids grow up. You know, they were babies when I first started, not when I first started connecting with JD, but like when I left National Paintball and Key Action Sports, they were babies, babies, you know? So that story will get told if they continue to stay together. It will get told for sure.
It will. 100%.
Yeah. Smiley Joe, that documentary is definitely going it's going to happen, right? As long as the group stays together and continues down the path that they're on, because I mean, the reality is the path that they're on is excellence, right? And continuing to do things that people tell them they shouldn't be able to do. They're too big, right? I heard that so many times. They're too big. There's no way I thought Colt would have
said at the beginning of the year, you know, there's no way their play style will ever work. But yeah,
I thought Colt would have challenges, right? But he's so good behind it.
I'll tell you what, that he can get as small as heck in that bunker.
He can, and he plays so well behind his gun that a lot of times it doesn't matter, right? His gun becomes a part of the bunker, and the other side of it is I love the fact that Colt. What makes our sport so special is that there isn't like a body type. Right. It's not like baseball where they're like, his body's a little weird, he's not going to be great at baseball. Our sport's totally different, right? Like you can be a tiny little person, you can be a big man, and you still have an opportunity to play at the highest level and potentially win the World Cup if you do the work.
That's right.
If you do the work.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
So I think it's a great story, and congratulations to you and the Lukow family and the entire organization, because wow, what a storybook ending, right?
It is.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Outstanding. Well, Cassey,
anybody
thank you
so
much for joining us.
Anybody you want to thank before we drop you off?
Yeah, I'll thank the Lukows.
You better thank your wife, by the way.
Thank my wife 100. I mean, she's my number one supporter, 100%. She allows me to leave the house and go
to Australia.
This was actually the longest. I was gone for 7 days because I got a 6-year-old too. So it was that's the hardest part is my 6-year-old. I mean, he guilt trips me. Like I gotta like bring back like Santa Claus when I come back from. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get a present. I'll mail him a present and all kinds of stuff. So yeah. My family, Paintball Fit, Welts, Hydra, GI, XXV, Freak, so Powerhouse, Planet Eclipse, so but no, my family and the Lukows and everybody that comes out at Paintball Fit. I mean, like I said, the culture that everybody's bringing there is just it's going to keep on. You're going to keep on seeing champions coming out of that camp. So
love it. I love it, man. Well, best of luck to you, man. Enjoy the off season. Of course, there is no off season, but enjoy it.
Oh yeah,
enjoy that win.
Verb. Good job.
You got it. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah,
shout out the Verb.
Verb is the man for sure. He does a great job documenting you guys.
I know his love language is food.
Hey, you know who else love language is food? This guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, you know, at these events, sometimes we bring a grill, and just depends. Sometimes I'm cooking back there. Have you ever y'all ever watched the Fit Lives?
Stop pretending like you don't have my cell phone number. Okay, like, shoot me a message. Hey, Ryan, if you're hungry.
And stop.
Well, actually this event I cooked, but it was at the house. So I didn't actually cook at the field. So.
And stop acting like you don't have Ryan's email address so you can get mine from it so that I can enjoy the
I will get both of y'all's numbers, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I make this good. It's like a Philly cheesesteak, but it's like a Louisiana version.
I had that. You made that for us.
Oh yeah.
I want it.
Yeah,
I want it.
Those are so good.
Oh, I want it.
So good.
Now, look, I would
thank
love
you.
to get you and Drew Bankston together, man.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh,
Louisiana
Ryan,
boys
you
can
know
cook.
what I'm
Well,
talking
I'm
about.
from Louisiana, remember?
I know, but I get you and Drew Bankston, you two pit bosses. My goodness, I die happy, man.
I tell people all the time, it's like they really keep me around for the food.
I don't think that's the case.
No,
That's
I don't think
probably
that's
just
it either.
that's the cherry on top of
That is,
right.
exactly
leadership and support and all the other things that you
For
bring
sure.
to the table. It takes the group, right? You can't have
100%.
you can't have a great coach in a messy culture, and you can't have you got to have the whole thing, right? So coaches cook at the coaches clinic. Hey, there you go.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, first of all, I'm a big fan of Smiley Joe as well as Verbals, but I
Same.
think that's a great idea. I think I'll bring
have a
the
cook-off?
sides. And then
No, I'm not.
Cassey Harrison.
I don't want to be in a competition with you. I don't own a restaurant.
I'm just I'll bring the side like the potato salad or the coleslaw. You handle the heavy lifting, Cassey.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. And Jennifer, thank you so much for letting us have Cassey for a few hours, especially after he's been gone for a week.
Right.
We really appreciate it. We know our fans appreciate it. So thank you. Yes, Verb, anytime you're up in Norman, holler at me, dude. I will take you and we can go have some ranch steakhouse.
Man,
Talk to you, brother.
You gotta stop doing that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Killing me.
So on
Now I'm all
PTG,
drooling.
that's Verb's question on that he asked all the guests on PTG is, what's your favorite thing to eat and where do you like to eat it? Yeah, you got asked that question, I'm sure. And
well, actually, no, but I did watch your episode, and
yeah.
So
there's a steak place that's down the street from my house that it's amazing.
Now that I've won the bet amongst the coaches.
Oh yeah, so Mike won our pick'ems bet for the year. So
I won something. Oh my God.
It was so close. Like 30, 30, 30, and 31. So Shane, SK, and I are all tied at 30, and Mike wins with 31. So we all got the exact same score. That's coming out of World 5. We all got 5 right.
That's right.
Coming out of World
and
Cup.
We made those picks before the layout dropped.
Which I wish we wouldn't have done that, but that's
okay. I know. If we had the layout, I guarantee you things probably would have been different. But I did want to say this. So we've had this bet, and I'm really excited. I need to get with you and Shane and Kevin and figure out, because you know what I want to do, right? So one of the things I want to do, and I'll announce it here on the Coaches Show, is Ryan, Shane, and Kevin are all going to have to come visit me in Alabama for a weekend. I'm going to show them some Southern hospitality. All right. We're going to go fishing for Shane. We'll go do some other things for Kevin. But one thing we all are going to do is we want to give back to the community. We want to give back to the paintball community. I can't have 3 of my good friends, as well as 3 of the greatest coaches in paintball history, to be in Alabama and not put on a clinic for those people in the area. So I think I'm going to have a talk with Mr. Mike McGowan, owner of Prime Paintball, this weekend and see if we can't work something out. So stay tuned for more information on that. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. I feel better now.
Thank you guys. If you're watching on Facebook and want to throw us some stars to help keep the show going, feel free to hit that button, throw us some stars. We really appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button, leave us a comment. Make sure to subscribe to Major League Paintball. Really, really appreciate you guys. This offseason is going to be incredibly fun. Already hearing a lot of interesting rumors going around. One coaching change we know for sure is Mike Jeffries has left Baltimore Revo. Looks like he'll be taking a year off and focusing. Just so you guys know, he is the editor of Great American Paintball Magazine. Yep. So he's going to be focusing his attention there. Also, if you guys don't have a subscription to Great American Paintball, you should get one. Mike and I both have an article in there in this month's, I don't know what you call it. This biannual issue, annual. Yep.
Yeah.
So the second half of the year issue, Mike and I both have an article in there. So check it out. It's really cool. A lot of great photos. And there's going to be this offseason may be more chaotic than last offseason.
I agree.
So it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to
Big news
covering it.
coming.
Yeah, looking forward to covering it. So
Big news coming already. We know from some teams. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. There's already some big plays being made for some of the players. Today's Thursday after the World Cup, and we're already hearing about some giant offers that are going to be made to a few players from some big name teams, and some potential full shakeups of some other big name teams. So it's going to be a wild off season. All it takes is one or two dominoes to fall, and then it sets.
And then
off
everybody gets after it. That's right.
Sets off the entire cascade of events. So
yeah,
big
the nuclear
ripple effect.
proliferation. So
Totally right. It's gonna be a ton of fun. So
yeah.
Let's see. I think that's all we got for tonight.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching this episode of the Coaches Show. Thank you to Coach Cassey Harris and his family for, number one, allowing him to come on, and number two, him sharing just a wealth of knowledge with us. Thanks to Major League Paintball Plus for use of the video, and Major League Paintball for all the support of the show. Darren Cessna, Alex Sorensen, Kevin Fillers, and Tom Cole. If you want to improve your game, possibly play for Team USA, get the best knowledge in paintball at bkipaintball.com. Check out the combines and the summer camp. If you're looking for new gear for 2025, also if you are I believe MSXL, USXBL, WCPPL team, Max Sportswear has a sponsorship program for all of those, and you guys should hit up Charles, get set up with his 2025 program. If you win the event, I think you get some of your paint paid for. I don't know the whole deal. That's why you need to talk to Charles. You can also check it out at www.maxsportswear.com. Next week, we will have Devin Strickler from the Royal City Sea Dogs to break down the semi-pro finals, talk a little bit about what their 2025 is going to look like, and dig into kind of this tonight's show more focused on pro. Next week will be more focused on semi-pro. Congratulations again to all of the Paintball Fit fam. With Mike Bianca, I'm Ryan Gray. As always, be responsible.